Hey, we've got somebody in already. I'm just getting everything set up really quick here, and we will be ready to go in just a moment. This is a really kind of a wonky setup here, so see if I can zoom in on just the playmat there. Try to keep all the build space on the playmat. All right, awesome. All right, give me just a moment. We're going to get all the social media links set up really quick. Really quick. Oh, holy crap, how about that? My friend June just got married. I didn't even know he was engaged. I'll have to give him a shout out here. Copy. All right, Brett says, thank you so much for your content. He's getting back into making models, working on the Liger Zero and the Berserk Fury. That's awesome, dude. Really glad to hear it. Well, if this stupid link would work, we would be good to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just do this. Ah, there we go. Sorry, this is taking a little bit longer than I expected. I'm trying to get the links up on another device while I'm streaming on my phone, which I've never done before. I typically don't stream on my phone. Oh my god. Let's do it this way. Copy. There we go. All right, we're all set and ready to go. So, thank you guys for joining me on this little project. So, what I wanted to do was I have a bunch of kits here that are either Zoids Wild kits or they are, well, actually old Hasbro kits that are unbuilt. And especially the older the kit is, if it's unbuilt, it tends to be pretty valuable. So I figured it was a pretty special occasion to have an old kit that's unbuilt, and I wanted to get some of this on camera. The other thing too is I really love long form videos with a lot of just kind of conversation and dialogue in the background. And I like to have that stuff on just sort of as stuff to listen to in the background. And so, it used to be with YouTube culture where, oh, if you didn't make if you made a video longer than 5 minutes, then forget about it. No one's going to watch because they want to have that instant gratification going on. But lately, it seems like that has shifted, and that is especially true for me as a viewer towards long form content where you're kind of listening to it in the background. And I've seen people do this before, like with podcast style videos or just rants, or I've seen people that like sort magic cards and talk while they sort. And so I wanted to build some Zoids while I did that. So I've got a total of 5 kits here. Let me know what you guys think of this lighting. It's a little bit harsh, but it is a lamp directly overhead. It's the same lamp I used to build the red blade Liger, the HMM blade Liger. And so we're going to try to get through as many of these kits as possible. I have around 2 hours to spare before I have to do anything else. So we have the Stylaser from Zoids Wild Zero. We have the Rising Liger from Zoids Wild Zero as well. I have a Liger Zero X, which is a Hasbro kit. This is actually not the very first printing of the Liger Zero X. There was another one that had the green box that you're familiar with a lot of the other Hasbro kits. And then we have, let me kind of move some of these out of the way because the stack's going to get really huge here. We have the Energy Liger, which is another Hasbro kit from the Fusors line. This one is pretty rare. And actually, I'll talk more about this kit when we finally do the review of it, but this kit has some elements that were previously not on the Japanese version because they wanted to rush this out for the anime, and I don't know, I'll tell the full story when we actually do the review of it, which we will do. And then finally, we have the Gojulus Giga from Fusors, and if you guys follow the Facebook page, you guys would know that I found this locally at a local small business that I usually go to play cards at. It's a game shop called Win Condition Games, and they just happened to have it as a random trade-in, and so I couldn't be any happier that I got this. I posted the video on the Facebook page, and so I'm actually going to dupe you guys a little bit with this one. So if you guys want to see the build of the Gojulus Giga, I'm actually going to be doing this one as a Facebook Live build on the Facebook page. So you guys have got to go and like the Facebook page in order to see the build of the Gojulus Giga. So it's Star-Crossed Souls Let's Plays on Facebook. And if you go and like that page, you'll get obviously a notification when we go live to build the Gojulus Giga. Hopefully I'll get around to doing this one today as well. But I wanted to make sure that you guys were rewarded with some kind of exclusive content for liking the Facebook page, and maybe you guys will go and find Michelle on Instagram if you're interested in her content as well. It's not Zoids related, but it's kind of under our same umbrella. And me and her actually did build some Zoids together, which I'm sure I've told that story before. And she does think they're all really cute, and she watched some of the anime with me or watching Zoids Wild. So uh, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the Stylaser, guys. So I've got my snippers and I've got a file set. As you guys know, that is not necessary at all with the Wild line because everything is already pre-cut in little baggies. They are not, what do you call it? They are not on the sort of pages and the sheets of plastic like the original Zoids are, which some people dislike that. Some people appreciate the advantage that gives you because it allows you to make sure that you never have to file any nubs off. So the Stylaser here, or Stylaser, there's an English thing you see between different translations. Some translations you see Stylaser, some are Stylaser, and I think that's just an English thing, a translation thing. So I may use the two terms interchangeably here. Got our instruction booklet, and you may notice as well this box is big. So this is a much bigger kit than the Rising Liger, and we'll see how much bigger it actually is when it's built. It may not actually be that much bigger, but like I showed off, I just finished the Bazootal review, or the Bazoodle as I like to call it, and so that'll be up here in a couple of days. And with the Bazootal, oh god, there's a lot of bags in here. I have a pile over there of plastic and empty sheets from the previous build that I just did. I'm gonna get a big trash bag and throw those away here in a second. I just finished the Bazootal, and with that one, it is exactly the same size box as the Wild Liger and Rising Liger, whereas this one is, or what's the super huge one called? The Zero Grisus, or whatever it's called. That is a very, very impressively large kit. It's almost as big as the Death Sword. We're going to set the box back here. We got the motor out. The motor looks to be almost the exact same motor as all the other Wild kits. I wonder if it actually is the exact same piece. I'd like to kind of side by side compare the motor with some other Zoids Wild kits and find out. Another thing you'll notice about the Zoids Wild kits is that, and this is something that makes them very easy from a model building perspective, is that you tend to only deal with one page, or one bag in this case, at a time. And so the little slash marks on the bag indicate what number you're dealing with. So this is A1, and then there's A2, it's got the 2 slashes, and then A3 with the 3 slashes. I guess this is technically A4 with the 4 slashes. But you go in order, and that allows you to kind of keep the amount of pieces you're dealing with under control. Because the nice thing about dealing with the sheets and the pages is that you basically cut out a piece as you need it. You don't have to, you don't cut out a bunch of pieces and have to sift through them like Legos to try to figure out what is which. So let's see what we got here. So it looks like there's a really large piece with the motor already on it. I don't see that though. So anyway, we'll kind of talk about just the current state of things as I go through this. So I bought the new house, as you guys know. I posted plenty of update videos about that. Moved in on June 12th, June 13th, and I've been in the new house for almost 3 months now, and everything has been just awesome. It's been so cool to have all this space to myself, all this room for me and Michelle to kind of do what we want, and it's been really cool to have a dedicated model building space. The room I'm in right now is a dedicated crafting and cosplay room, and so I have my old computer desk set up as a workstation for the let's see, A1. That's not in that bag at all. Opened the wrong bag, and I couldn't have. Okay, I think I see it in here. It's in bag A4, which is kind of a mistake on the instructions part there. So the only thing that sucks about home ownership is that it never ends. Like the the bills never stop coming, and it seems relentless after a while, and you have this infinite list of things to do. Am I seriously missing another piece? There's like a big piece that it shows the stuff attaching to. Did I forget something inside the box? Oh, I sure did. Wow. I should have known that's why the box is a little bit bigger. It's got to fit this giant piece in here. So this is probably the weapon piece, which has a bunch of moving parts. Set that off to the side there. This is the piece I was looking for. I was like, man, there's got to be other steps. It looks like a bunch of pieces connected there, but actually it's just one giant solid piece there. So I'm actually on vacation right now, and thank God for that. I have only been able to take a vacation off twice in the entire time I've been at my current job, and one of which was last year for AWA, and then once for I guess it's the third one, yeah. So once for the move, and then this one, because this is the last one I was going to be able to take before things got really crazy for the holidays. And so I was let's see, that clicks on right there. The motor pieces have got to fit inside the little articulating ratchet joints there, so when the motor spins, it rotates the gears in this piece. So unfortunately, though, I do have to work on Mondays and Thursdays. It's pretty much non-negotiable. So I had to go in this morning to take care of some normal Thursday stuff, and luckily was only there for about an hour, and then I left and came back, and I had a finite amount of time to get something done before I had to take a break for lunch and then get ready for this. And so I had it on my list of things to do during my vacation. I built the Bandai Star Wars B-Wing, and I should show that off right here. So this dude is big. Like I couldn't believe how big this thing was, but it was considerably more expensive than the other starfighters in that line. So there will be a review for that as well. Don't think I forgot about those kits. They haven't really. Those videos, of course, probably don't get too much attention because it's like, hey, I've subscribed to a Zoids channel. I want to see Zoids related content, which is fair. But I always think those really cool model kits, and I like them better than a lot of Gundam, Gunpla stuff from time to time. Only because there's so many people that build Gundam and Gunpla stuff that it could be a little overwhelming. We're looking for a piece in A3, which is like a little lever for the switch on the back so that we can operate the switch without the switch being exposed after we put all the skeleton pieces on here. This Zoid, before I forget, is a sort of a reimagining or retrain of the Triceratops style Zoid from the original Zoids Wild line. I don't even see that piece in that bag. I wonder if these... I really feel like these instructions are... Because I'm pretty sure I see it right here in bag A2, and yet we just opened bag A3, which is where it says it is on the instructions, so I wonder if these instructions are just wrong. That being said, there's not a whole lot of pieces going on here, so it won't totally kill me to have all these dumped out. That's definitely instilling us. Yep, there it is. It was in bag A2, and the instructions seriously say A3. That's not a good sign. If that was, I'd have to second guess myself a couple times on some of the HMM instructions, but overall the build for the Red Blade Liger went really well. Yeah, so this is designed to operate the. That's actually a pretty cool motion we got back there. It's probably going to have us complete the torso now by attaching the other. Side piece there. Actually, we have to attach another connector inside here. That's the pilot fella. That's a big ass pilot. But yeah, I think this version, the Stylaser, I can't exactly remember what the other Triceratops Zoid was called from the original Zoids Wild line, but I honestly think that the this one, the Stylaser, is much more appealing. So this appears to be probably where the head is going to attach and articulate, and I believe it goes inside just like that. Seems like not a whole lot is holding it there. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's got to be our range of motion for the... I'm assuming there's a piece from the other half of the shell that goes in there, that once the motorized function moves, it pulls on the head and moves it back and forth. You can kind of start to see how everything fits together with the motorized functions on these kits. It's not something I got to put in the for the tail back here. Maybe it just slips on after you're done. I lost that. But yeah, in general, I'm glad I waited on some of the Zoids Wild kits, because if they retrain them and gave them an alternate version in Zero, it's largely the exact same Zoid. In this case, like I said, it's exactly the same as the green. It's not green. It's the yellow Triceratops looking Zoid, and the Zoodle is a retrain, of course, of the Ganon toys, like I talked about, that green turtle, which we now have seen in the anime. But somehow they just become a lot more appealing when you put a bunch of weapons on them. And I think that's the consensus amongst the fan base right now too, is that everybody seems to agree that the old style of Zoids looks better. A5. Yeah, see, there is no A5. It goes to A4, which is this one. I'm assuming where that piece is. Yes, it is. These instructions are, I'm telling you, they're just wrong. But I do kind of want to talk about the controversy around Zoids Wild, because I've said in the past, and I told myself this would be the better format to do this type of video in, but I think when anyone who was following Zoids Wild when it first came out, basically anybody that was paying attention, we knew what we were getting. We knew it was not going to be a adult-oriented Zoid series, which was really disappointing considering how many years the series had been on hiatus, and we had no new Zoids properties for years. And I think, especially after that teaser with Field of Rebellion and how cool that looked, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, I absolutely want a a Gundam 8th MS team, but for Zoids, like a gritty military, more mature style series, and I couldn't agree more. That's what I wanted more than anything. I've said for years that I've always wanted a anime that told more of the story as what was going on between the war with the Halic Republic and the Gallos Empire in Chaotic Century, but of course that was never meant to come to pass, which again is a shame. Let's see, it's this piece. Yes, it is. We can already go ahead and put the feet on. Wow. But we knew what we were getting into when it came to Zoids Wild. We knew it was going to be more kid friendly. It was going to be very like, I guess you could say YA shonen anime kind of style. It's like your Pokemon or your Digimon or your anything like that. It's very, very similar to how Zoids was marketed to us when we were young. So then everybody kind of quit talking about it for a while. The consensus among the community was, yeah, it's not as good as the original, but it is what it is. All the feet should be the same, except oriented differently, yeah. And it just kind of came and went. A lot of people were doing some cool things with the model kits, like custom paint jobs and that kind of thing. But other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot of discussion around it. And then fast forward to, okay, the feet are not the same. I think the front feet and the back feet have different length pegs on there. Fast forward to when the dub comes out on Netflix. And because it comes out on Netflix, that makes it pretty mainstream, which I'm not complaining about. But it means that literally everyone who even had a casual interest in Zoids back when the original animes were airing has now been able to see Zoids Wild. And so the discussion starts all over again. Everybody's like, oh, the dub is annoying, and oh, why are the pilots on the outside of the of the Zoids? How come there's no cockpit? And it's the same tired, trite argument all over again. And I got a huge influx of comments actually on old videos I had done back in 2018 about the announcement for Zoids Wild and my first impressions of like the manga and of the first episode of the anime before the anime even had subtitles. Like those are old videos, and then people are coming out of the woodworks, leaving comments. And these are people who had just got through seeing the English dub on Netflix, and it's like I cannot. I hate to be talking about drama in this setting, but the community, the Zoids community. Am I missing a peg in there? There's supposed to be something sticking out right there, and there isn't. I have a bad feeling about that. Oh, that's why I'm stupid. I did actually skip a step there. I was going a little too fast to put the legs on. Don't do that when you're building HMMs, guys. That will screw you. You may unintentionally put on a piece that you can't get off. Anyway, so yeah, the discussion. One thing I love about the Zoids group, and I talked about this to my friend Brad, who's also a member of the group. When I saw him over the last weekend, I was looking at his collection, and we were talking about stuff, and we said that this group is so incredibly chill. And model building as a whole can be super intimidating because the level of skill between a base level entry person who just gets started with it, like the difference between somebody who builds one of these as their first kits and somebody who builds one of these as their first kit is like, night and day. And then from there you have people that do like the custom paint jobs and the weathering and the kit bashes and all this stuff. And there's just a insane skill gap between people who are just doing this as a casual hobby and then people who are super skilled and passionate about it. But it doesn't seem to matter because regardless of how you're approaching it, the fan base is really, really chill. Like I can post a picture of a vintage Zoid from the early era, and everyone will be super ecstatic. I can post a picture of a Hasbro Zoid. I'll get, relatively kind, positive feedback. Takara Tomy, HMM, Modeler Spirit Series. It doesn't matter. Even the Revoltech ones, it really doesn't matter. They're very, very kind, and that is not something to be taken for granted because you do not find that in other places on the internet, especially where anonymity is a thing. I was just having I'll give you a perfect example of the antithesis of that. So I had a problem with my PSP last night. I was playing Persona 3 Portable, and I'm also part of a Facebook group that is collectors for the PSP and the Vita, and so these people who buy and sell games, they're very passionate about the system. It's a collector's thing. It's just like the console was making this awful like screeching noise as it was trying to read the UMB. I feel like something was broken in there, and this guy, without offering any advice or anything, he's just a typical troll. He basically comments and says, "Oh, by the way, spoilers. This is who dies at the end of Persona 3." And I'm like, I already knew that, so I didn't get mad or anything. But it was just the fact that he. Did you like get out of bed this morning with the intent to do that? Like, is that how you wanted to? I think that's the lower jaw right there. Is that how you wanted this? Like, I'm gonna go deliberately onto this PSP and Vita collectors group. I'm gonna find this post where this person is playing a game, and I'm just gonna spoil the ending for it right there with not offering any advice at all. And I just sometimes cannot believe the behavior. Of course, I didn't say anything. I didn't comment because I didn't want to give him what he wanted. I didn't want to give into the trolling or whatever. But I'm just using that as an example to say we cannot possibly be more grateful for how chill the Zoids group is. Like, it is such an awesome. That's kind of interesting how the tail fits together. So the top is like a peg, and the bottom is like it just kind of goes around the peg, and then with the two pins right here in the tail, it has no choice but to stay attached. Yeah, we cannot be more grateful for how chill the Zoids community is, especially when you talk about like language barrier and stuff like that. We're dealing with people all over the world, and I think the vast majority of the people in the Zoids collectors group, from what I've seen, are not English speaking, which is totally fine. If anything, it kind of reinforces my mentality of this the Zoids fandom needs more English speaking people because relatively speaking, the biggest Zoids collectors group on Facebook or on the internet, from what I've been able to tell, unless there's some forum somewhere I've never been on, the vast majority of the people there are not English speaking, and so that's what kind of gave me this breath of fresh air, so to speak, to be like, oh yeah, your content is definitely necessary. Like, there's people out there that actually there needs to be somebody who's a huge fan of Zoids that is based in the U.S. That's really cool. Look at the way the tail kind of came together there. That's quite nice. Yeah, so I guess. Yeah, so the lever is still exposed back here for the motorized function. Guys, let me know if you want me to. I'm talked about this in the Bazoodle review, but you guys let me know if you want me to do a video where I show off all the motorized features, because I know I've been pretty bad about not putting the batteries in and actually showing that off. Let's see. There we go. You can always tell it's gone in with a nice snap like that. The skeleton on this guy just looks really awesome. I really am quite impressed with that. And he's got a little, some kind of weapon that sticks out the front of the trunk there. It looks like a cannon with a blade on it. Looks really, really cool. Again, just stick more weapons on on your Zoid, and it automatically kind of makes it look cooler. Although I know some people that do actually really enjoy the sort of organic, raw look to the wild Zoids, and that's respectable for sure. Let's see. That piece. Is that back here? Yeah, it is. Not sure what that's for. Probably more weapons. face goes on. Okay, yeah, so that attaches to the actual face itself. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with chat with you guys. I literally cannot see it, and if I could, I'd have to stop to look at it. So there's the Stylaser with just the skeleton complete, and it looks quite fearsome, even just like that. I'm really happy with that. It looks pretty badass, if I do say so. Another thing I didn't point out initially that I really like is the feet and the horn there, and even the central piece right here is molded in gold plastic that is metallic, and it looks really, really nice. I feel like the Bazoodle could have benefited from a different color scheme, although I talk about that a little bit more in its review. So I guess we can open up the bee bag. Bees! And we can put on all the armor. And actually, I just mentioned the color, and you'll notice a difference here. Like, this is the bulk of the armor. It's very much that Desert Storm beige color. Whoops. And then you have this, which is gold, and so there's a little bit of a contrast there. We need to see a lot more of that, because that's quite cool. So first things first is the tail armor. I believe that's for the bottom vertebrae. It's still considered a vertebrae if it's your tail, isn't it? I'll have to have some biologists inform me there. Pretty sure those are considered vertebrae. And then the big back piece, which I'm assuming is where the saddle will go. There should be a place where that clips in up there. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. And then we have these side skirts, which are asymmetrical, so you can only put them on one side. So this thing goes on this side. But where is the question? Does it go over the leg? It goes over the back leg. Yeah, I think we got off to a bit of a clunky start here. When I first opened this one up, I was like, where does everything go? And then I guess it took realizing that maybe the instructions are a little bit off to get up to speed here. But now that we are up to speed, this thing is going right along. And I'm really excited to review this guy because he's quite nice. Quite nice indeed. Everything just fits on so tight and perfectly. Got little missile pods back here, which again, the gold color really sticks out. Nice contrast against the desert tan color there. And then we have the horns up top, which connect to the they sort of fit onto the cylinder that's already there on the molded in gold piece, and that kind of gives us our fit and our range of motion there because they can rotate once they're pegged in there. Come on, piece of crap. That's probably not the best way to do this, but okay. One thing's for sure is you don't have to worry about fragility when it comes to these. They're very, very thick plastic, and they're not exactly fragile. We have the missile array inside the main horn itself, which again looks really, really cool and really completes the look of this guy. I guess it just sits in there. There's two little rails on each side that kind of thread it through and make sure it's facing the right direction. But other than that, that's all you really got to do. I'm gonna have it face the camera there. And then lastly, we have these pieces, which I think go on the side of the face and give us that Stegosaurus look. And they each have little gold fins attached to it. This really reminds me a lot of the dark horn and red horn, with the little articulated pieces here that for aesthetic. You guys are familiar with the motorized, the Hasbro and the Takara Tomy versions of the red horn and dark horn, which I have reviewed both of those if you guys want to go check them out. So, let's see, start with this one. Sort clips into the side there. Ah, I see. So these spring forward when it's doing its little attack thing there. So I think there must be a way to get these to swing back and peg into place so they're not all over the place when, because it seems like these are spring loaded, but they're very much so locked forward. So I don't want to mess with that too much now. And I think the last piece of armor is the face, and so we can't forget the eyeballs, which, as I've said before, to me is one of the most important features of the Zoids Wild kits is the eyeballs. They just add so much more personality to the look of it. And even in the anime where you can actually see the Zoids looking in different directions, I just think that is so cool. So we'll peg that in like this. I think we're going to work on the Liger 0X next, because I want to take a break from the Zoids Wild kits. And the Rising Liger, because I have already built the Wild Liger and Beast Liger, and the Rising Liger is literally the same construction underneath, that thing is going to be stupid easy to put together, so I'd rather, am I putting this in the wrong eye? I'd rather build a Hasbro kit and do the Beast Liger after that. We may not get to the Energy Liger today, hopefully we will, but see how much time I have here. I don't want to kill all afternoon doing this. And I'm also connected to my house Wi-Fi, which, there's the eyeballs. Quite cool. Connected to my house Wi-Fi, which kinda sucks, not gonna lie. So, oh, that's even cooler too. So we get the eyeballs, as you can see, but the front armor pieces have this metallic red cockpit visor thing going on. The Bazoodle has the exact same thing, which really does complete that look. There's two armor pieces that don't go on anything. I wonder, those must be for the front legs. Yeah, they are. I see where they go now. Wonder how to get these things to stay back. It's kind of in the way of me putting the face on, if I'm being honest. To hold it back for a second and put the face armor on. I think it's the wrong side. Pegs in above his nose there. I think most of the Zoids Wild armor does on the face. Sorry, I'm sure I had to take it out of the camera shot there because I was trying to line it up. That does not want to go in there at all. There we go. I had it oriented the wrong way. Yeah, that makes much, much more sense. I wonder if I've got to rotate these back. I'm trying to make sure, trying to get the fins here to lock in place. They don't seem to want to do that. They want to stay flipped forward. Looks like we've got 2 extra rubber caps, and I'm not going to put the pilot on. There's a quick little look at the sticker sheet there. Not too impressive, but it is there, which is always appreciated. I've gotten away from putting stickers on newer Zoids, only because I did a pretty poor job of it on the old HMM, not the old Takara blade Liger that I have. Cool, so there is the Stylaser complete. That wasn't too bad. It actually took a lot longer than it probably should have, only because I was trying to figure out little technicalities here and there. This would definitely be a great kit to buy one of the weapon racks for. I'll figure out the fin things and how to keep them back later, but in the meantime, there he is. Super, super cool. Cannot complain about that at all. We're going to check on the stream really quick, make sure everything is going as planned, and then switch over to the Liger 0X. Okay, my feet kind of fell asleep there, but yeah, that's the Stylaser done. We're going to move that out of the way. That's probably the biggest Zoids Wild kit that I have by far. Alright, so the Liger 0X. This is a kit that I've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. I never owned this as a kid, and I was just talking to Brad about this. He's got one that I think he found he got really lucky and found it at like a flea market or something, already built. And so it did not have the Empire Liger pieces. And I totally missed out on the HMM Liger Zero Empire. Originally that was what I wanted. I think it's already a side that's open here. Yeah. Oh my god. Fresh from 2002. Oh, how cool is that? This might be like blasphemy to some people to even open this and build this, because it's probably way more valuable unbuilt. Oh man, that is so cool. Wow, so we'll set those off to the side because most likely those are all for the Liger Zero Empire, which we will do a review of, but I probably won't build that on screen because it would probably require me taking all the armor off of the 0X. And of course we have our motor, just like the Zoids Wild kits, although it's in a much less decorative piece of cardboard, which I think I'll just tear that or something. It's got a little perforated line right there, but it has like tape over the perforation, which is smart. Put that in the trash pile. Oh man, I'm so excited about this. You guys have no idea. So originally my plan was to get the HMM Empire Liger Zero, and that did not go very well because it was a Kodo store exclusive, and so basically, if you didn't get it right away, good luck paying $200+ for it, because that's pretty much what it's worth now. So I kind of hate that now. I'm a little suspicious of potential rubber rot with the caps in this set. I think it should be okay, but that is something to think about. So actually, I take that back. There is a piece in here that I need, and it's the basic framework of the Liger itself. It's page number. What number is this? It's A, actually. It's letter A. Doesn't say, yeah, it does say A somewhere on there. So I need the actual side pieces of the Liger itself. So I will be using the nice snips for these, the actual model builder snips. If you guys were like me and you were a kid back when Zoids originally came out as the anime, you were an absolute maniac, and you did not use anything like this to build your models. You simply just like twisted the pieces off of there until you got them off, and you had like these ugly, jaggedy nubs on there, and you didn't even know that filing was important. And even I didn't for the longest time. And I mentioned in I recently uploaded the HMM Blade Liger review, and I mentioned in there how I was like, you know, I really just think I just built it wrong, and that was part of my issues with it, because I really did a botched job on that for sure. Like I had like big old pliers that were just way too big and not nearly as precise as these are. Let's see, A4. And so now I have more tools, and I mentioned in that video, it's like, you know, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then everything's going to look like a nail kind of thing. I don't exactly know where that analogy comes from, but I'm sure it applies here. The last Zoid like this that I bought unbuilt and built from scratch, was from the Hasbro line, was the Koenig Wolf, and that was all the way back in October of 2016. And I remember that vividly because I had just kind of come off of the idea that Zoids would be essentially the essential focus of this YouTube channel. Obviously it is now, because Zoids is now part of the namesake of it. But let's see, I need page B, which is probably in here still. Page K, I had just gotten through with the Zoids versus 3 Let's Play in winter of 2015. And so into 2016, I knew that Zoids related content was going to be something I wanted to focus on with the channel. And so, you know, I loved the Koenig Wolf so much in those games. I was like, I've got to actually get a model kit of the Koenig Wolf. And so I may just take all these out of the bag and sort them out here. So I found a unbuilt Koenig Wolf on eBay or something. Paid probably more than I should have for it. I think it was like $60, $70 maybe I paid for it. I could have gotten an HMM for that, but you know, there is no HMM Koenig Wolf, and did the review of that. It's one of my older reviews, obviously, so not extremely nice, not extremely well done, but it is there. And let's see, this goes over that. I think I see. It's supposed to be able to rotate back and forth when the motorized function works. Doesn't really want to stay there though. We'll go ahead and get the other half inner shell there. Yeah, kind of going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video. Side note, yeah, I wanted to get the I want to finish one thought at a time. Here's what I really want to do. But there's a guy in the Zoids collectors group that has a absolutely massive collection. He's based out of Canada, and he's selling a lot of it off. Surprisingly, he basically anything goes. Although he knows what everything is worth, he's definitely selling them for what they're actually worth. So be prepared to pay a pretty penny for some of that stuff. And he sold me the unbuilt Liger 0X, complete with Empire Liger kits, and the Energy Liger. And so again, I pretty much paid what they're worth. I've paid a good amount of money for them, but rewardingly so, I have the original kits unbuilt, and now I'm able to share this building experience with you guys. And like I said, that's one of the coolest things about having this new house, is that having this dedicated building area in this craft room, and I'll sit here and listen to podcasts and stuff, and Michelle will be doing her art stuff, basically right next to me, and we'll look over each other's projects every once in a while and be amused. This is really shitty how this fits in here, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't really like how this fits in here at all. Okay, it's where it needs to be. It's literally on the right track. I'm not using it as a metaphor. Actually, it's not. Fuck, I hate this thing. I've got to open that back up again a little bit, fit this back in there. And this is all just for the motorized function too. Like, I wouldn't have this problem if it wasn't for that. Okay, that should be good in there now. So, my backlog is absolutely massive, as you guys have seen. It's not as big as some other people. I mean, there's some hardcore hobby enthusiasts that, they'll dump money into more unbuilt kits before they even get started on something, and I guess I'm like that to an extent as well. So it was very refreshing to finally be able to do this and put a huge dent in my backlog, because since I moved in here, again in just under 3 months, I've been able to do a couple of video projects on the main channel, and plenty of video projects here on this channel, and then I built the HMM Red Blade Liger, as you guys have seen, and then built the two bug type Zoid things from Zoids Wild, the Quogata and the Quoganos, I guess is what they're called. I'm probably gonna have to attach something else to that piece. Let me not put it on there now. I need sheet number D, or letter D. Dr. D. Remember that was a recurring joke in Chaotic Century. So I built the HMM Red Blade Liger, and I built the Beetles, I built the Bazoodle, I did a bunch of maintenance to my original Van Blade Liger HMM. I just built that B-Wing, and now of course you saw the Stylaser, and all of these kits, these easier to build kits, the Hasbro, Takara Tomy, and Zoids Wild kits, I'll have all those built, either today or backlog there'll be a pretty significant dent in my backlog. I do have several Gundam kits, as well as I have a Bandai Tiger and Bunny kit, actually, which is Kotetsu's armor. And then, of course, I've got plenty of HMMs, and I can definitely see myself getting burned out on doing HMMs, although I am going to attempt to do the Psycho Genosaur before I finish with Vacation. So you guys should hopefully, without too much of a delay, here's page E. I'm looking for page D. I'm looking for page D. I don't seem to be seeing it. Without too much of a delay, there should be the Psycho Genosaur kit built pretty soon. Wow, I'm really having a hard time finding this stupid page. I've seen some people's setups that have like all their pages spread out to where they're all kind of, and maybe I'll do that here to an extent. I'll kind of spread them out a little bit so I can see kind of at a glance which one is which. I guess the reason why I don't do that is building on the computer desk that the camera's sitting on right now is normally much more narrow, and so I'm not able to really spread them out as much. I kind of, with the HMMs especially, there's so many pages that I only pull out the ones I need as I need them. Yeah, I'm not seeing D, so it must still be in the box. Okay. How about that? Oh, you know what? I realized why it was telling me to use page D is because I'm actually following the instructions for the Empire Liger. That would have been a bit of a mix-up there. So let me see where the split is there and see if it'll take me in the direction of the Liger 0X, because that would definitely be a problem if I just built the Empire Liger instead. Oh wow, yeah, I think it just has you take the. Oh, that's annoying. That's really annoying. It has you disassemble the Empire Liger and put the Liger 0X pieces on there. So if there's a way that I can avoid putting any of the armor pieces on, I guess I'm familiar enough with the anatomy of the Liger 0 to not do this. Funny enough, I never actually built a motorized Liger 0 kit, but my brother has. Do they have the same feet? It looks like they do. My brother has the original Hasbro motorized Liger 0, and I probably should have done the Liger 0 review while I was still living at that house, because I could have done actually a comparison between the HMM, let's see what piece that is, the HMM, the actual, like the action figure one, and the Kotobukiya one of the Kotobukiya, the Hasbro, and the we're not going to use that piece now. So we're not going to use any pieces that come from D. Comes from D, we're skipping it. But I have a feeling I will need these other pieces because that looks like the structure of the legs there. But if there are Zoids in other people's collections, I'm more than willing to do reviews of them. Obviously, Brad's got quite a few that he has that I don't, that I'd be willing to review. He's got, he actually has a couple of Blade Ligers that I don't. He has one Blade Liger in particular that I don't actually. He has, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a Takara motorized one, and it essentially has like swamp colors. It's black and it has green accents, and I have never mentioned this one before in any of my Blade Liger reviews, which I did see a little bit ago. I think that's one of the gold ones. Yeah, here we go. And with the head on there, we need E38. Let's see, he's got a couple of motorized ones he's looking to get rid of, like the Bear Fighter, which I suppose I wouldn't. That's a wind-up one, actually not a motorized one, but same difference. I would like to do a review of that one, so maybe I'll pick that up from him. He had a HMM Lena gun sniper that he sold to another member of the group. Let's see, C15, that's the gun. The underbarrel shot cannon, which is right here. It looks to be entirely just one piece. C15. Hopefully this this build will start to speed up really quick here as I've got these pages sorted a little bit better. And of course there's already the little grooves for the cannon to fit into down here, so it just kind of pops in just like the little thing on the Stylaser on the top there. trouble is, do I have to open up the shell a little bit to get it to fit in there? There we go. Very nice. Fits in place quite well. We should be able to move on. E39. Now, does the Liger 0X still have the same blades on the side? No, it does not. So I will remember not to use these because these go in the Empire Liger. Now, the little sockets that hold the blades in there, those are the same. We can go ahead and cut those out. I'll just remember to get the blue piece to put in for the Liger 0X variant. Who wants to see an HMM Liger 0X? I know I sure do. Like, holy crap. That would just be so cool. And these are symmetrical, aren't they? There's no differences between the two. Yeah, it really isn't. We'll go ahead and put those blades on. There's these pieces right here. The Liger 0X never appeared in any of the anime. It was a video game exclusive, basically. Or I should say it's a Battle Story exclusive, because really all that stuff comes from there. And Liger 0X, in spite of it being a variant of what we consider the protagonist Zoid to be, is considered an Empire Liger. It's considered a bad guy. So essentially, it was a stolen Empire prototype. Which way that goes on? Okay, facing that way. And I think the Liger 0 itself was a Empire prototype that was stolen in the Battle Story. So the Liger 0 was originally an evil. I guess you could say evil. I mean, I know it's not quite so black and white when it comes to war. There's a bad guy Zoid, essentially, according to the lore in the Battle Story. Not the case in the anime. In the anime, it's a one of a kind. I mentioned that in the review for the Liger 0. Let's see, we need A6, which is right here. It goes on the booty of it, keeps the shell intact, keeps it from popping open. But yeah, with the Liger 0X in the video games was obscenely powerful, and actually I kind of downplayed how powerful it was, because I had a lot of people in the comments tell me, like, dude, no, the Liger 0X is like one of the most powerful things in the game. Its electroshock blade thing does basically infinite damage, and can almost essentially take out a. Alright, so that's D right there. Maybe that piece is useful. If it's red, we know it's not. D26. Yeah, no, that's red. We're not using that. Alright, E41. This gold piece right here. That appears to still be there on the Liger 0X. Hey, having to reference the picture. Maybe it's not. It actually does not look like it's there on that picture. We'll hold off for now. We get A3, which is a massive, massive piece. The Liger 0X was used a lot in the market. It was playable on all of them. I don't think you had to fight it as part of the story at all in Zoids vs. 2, aka Battle Legends, or in Zoids vs. 3. I think it was just reserved for basically for tournament mode there. Let's see, facing this way. How do you work? Oh, I see. So that's got to be all the way forward. And that's got to kind of... I wonder why they didn't have us do that sooner then. Maybe because of how that stupid piece fits on its tracks there. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. And then A5. I'm actually kind of surprised considering that the Liger Zero is essentially the cash cow for the Zoids franchise, and how even casual Zoids fans will go and spend money on an HMM Liger Zero if they see it in passing at a convention or something like that. In spite of all that, I'm surprised that they haven't made a HMM Liger Zero, considering how popular, or an HMM Liger Zero X, considering how popular it the base version is. And maybe it's because it didn't appear in the anime, is why they haven't made one. Because obviously the Jaeger, Schneider, Panzer, the armor kits, they all sell very well as well for the HMM Liger Zero. That's it for page V, is what we can toss that. Yeah, so maybe that's why, is because it didn't appear in the anime. But then they made stuff like the Blade Liger Mirage and like the Iron Kong Yeti, to give a more recent example. None of that stuff appeared in the anime either. All right, we need tail different. It is. I guess I'll wait on that just to make sure. Boosters are completely different. Obviously, the head is going to be the same. Luckily, all the pieces for that are right here in the same bag. Except for maybe the lower jaw. I don't see that in here. Yeah, lower jaw does not appear to be here. And that's page number H. Do not recommend this, guys. I don't recommend doing this on the floor because your legs will fall asleep. I found it the hard way by sorting a absolute crap ton of cards doing this, that it does suck a lot. There's the lower jaw. Probably not good for my back either to be leaning over so much. But then again, when I'm sitting in that chair that's behind the desk that's recording right now, where the camera's at, that is a very very hard chair that is not very forgiving on one's booty. So also do not recommend. How does this weird peg thing even fit in here? Oh, I see. It goes like that. Then, so we have that. I'm just not going to lay it down. Jaw. Random debris coming off of there. I wonder if it's if it's got anything to do with the. Come on, stay on there. You know you want to. Let's do the other way around. Oh, did I get it? I did. How about that? I guess this is a slightly different head sculpt than the standard Liger Zero, because I don't remember these things coming down so far past the jawline in the original Liger Zero, so it is a slightly different head. And then the nice thing is that the the eyes and the actual cockpit piece itself can be attached afterward. You don't have to try to fit those into the same weird section. It just kind of snaps on top of it. And I'll finally be able to illustrate kind of what I was talking about in the Liger Zero review of how the cockpit opens on the HMM or on the motorized version, and then the eyes just kind of snap underneath like this, and the green eyes just look awesome. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, there we go. That looks amazing. Snap it on like so. And we'll worry about the actual top piece up there later, because I think that might be different as well. I think it's red with the... oh no, I'm stupid. It's right here on the blue sheet. I can pretty well see which one it is, but I think there's other pieces as well that go on there, so I'm not going to fuss with that too much. Although I can kind of tell the side pieces of the face, I think, are right here. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until the instructions tell us to do it. Let's not jump ahead too much. Similar to an HMM, the kit actually has individual pieces for the feet. Each toe is like an individual piece, which is kind of surprising. Where are those, though? It's piece number J. I think I would see those. Yes, they are in here. I believe. That's not J. That is, though. Yeah, it is in there. Oops, all feet. That's not good. So the original socket piece is page number I, which I think is Q. I know I saw it at some point. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Another thing about the HMMs that's different, or seems to be different on the old motorized kits, is that doesn't seem to be a lot of duplicate pages. Like sometimes you will have an entire page that is made to just build one piece, and because there's multiple pieces on the kit as a whole, you'll get multiple copies of the same sheets. And these older kits don't seem to do that, which is definitely a huge relief. Let's see, 56. It's a little bit annoying. I have to clip out every single little toe, but that should be expected. Again, I'm used to it with the HMMs. With the motorized, the Takara Tomy blade Liger, for instance, the entire foot, or at least the claw part of the foot, is one piece because it's made out of die-cast metal. And even the Hasbro one that is not die-cast metal is plastic, but it's still one piece, whereas the HMM blade Liger, each and every single one of these little toes is two halves together, which is really annoying. And so if there's one thing I do not want to have to build again when it comes to the HMM blade Liger that I'll have to do anyway when I get around to building the 2020 version, is the feet. It takes forever. That and the attack boosters as well. According to Brad, he absolutely dreads doing the with the Genosaur, because he has the Psycho Genosaur, and of course, as you guys saw earlier, that's the next HMM kit I have to build, is the Psycho Genosaur. The part he dreads on that is the tail. That don't ever, if you don't have to make the tail again, then consider yourself lucky, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I know it's petty to complain about build complexity with a motorized kit, considering how simple they are. I mean, it just saw how easy the torso was to put together, but this is a little excessive. I don't know if I like this. It does fit in there. I guess it gives the foot kind of a staggered look, sort of. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Oh, I think I messed that up actually. Oh, I'm stupid. So these are all the. I thought there was just 4 sets of talons, and they were all the same. I was wrong. Again, I don't see the purpose of this. This seems wholly unnecessary for a motorized kit, as petty as that is complaint. So this one goes on the far end. We have 74. Which goes next to that. And then let's see, so 72, 70, 72, 74, 75, 73. That's so stupid. It doesn't even go in numerical order either. Somebody at Takara Tomy was having an interesting day when they designed that. I'll say that at least. So anyway, I was talking about the other kits in my backlog earlier. So I did mention how I just finished the B-Wing, the Star Wars Bandai B-Wing model kit, and it is quite nice. It's huge. It's way, way bigger than I thought it was going to be, but it was also a lot more expensive than the other Starfighters. And so I guess that makes sense why it would be more expensive, because it is bigger. Yeah, that's so weird how that fits in there. Like, it's really interesting for a motorized kit. So the you would think I would be done with the. Oh, that's another D piece. I don't want to use that. I don't see an alternative though. Oh, it's gold. It should be fine then. Yeah, it looks like that's on the final. On the 0X version as well. So, yeah, I'm not quite done with the Bandai Star Wars model kits yet, because I was when I was up in Chattanooga visiting my friend Brad, and he and I were talking about our Zoids collections and that kind of thing. I stopped by a store called Battlegrounds, which is a game store in North Georgia, and I quite liked it. It was a really, really cool little place, and they have a ton of nerd stuff. Like, they didn't have anything Zoids, of course, but they have a ton of like vintage Transformers and like Star Wars stuff, and they did have some of the Bandai Star Wars model kits, including the one I was missing, which is the Y-Wing, and so I have the Y-Wing now as well. I will build and review that, and then finally, after so much time, I have found a Valkyria Chronicles model kit. And I like lost my shit when I finally found it. So Hobbytown actually got it in, no surprise there, because they're just awesome. And it's the Shamrock, it's not the Edelweiss, but I will build and review that. And also, I'm going to show you guys, hopefully, on the September market watch for Zoids. If you guys don't care about Valkyria Chronicles, it's whatever. I understand, but I wanted to kind of gush about it and show off the website that you can get it on. So it comes from the model company Volks, which is a company that makes model kits. Let's see, so it goes 72, 74. Yeah, it goes down in order. It goes like this. Yeah, so on the official Volks website, you can actually order the Shamrock tank, and there's a kit that gives it a metal tank barrel. There is an alternate version of the kit that is like raw, unpainted. It's just the original molded plastic, but you can get it with like metal side skirts and that kind of thing. And there's a minifigure kit that, of course, comes with all of the characters from the game, which is pretty cool. And the Edelweiss is basically on buyout status. Hobbytown did tell me, and of course the guy there is super, super awesome. He knows pretty much everything there is to know about Gundam. He did tell me, that's the wrong foot. He told me that they're going to try to get it in. They have a pretty reliable distributor in California that once they get them from Japan, they go from California to over here where he sells them. But I imagine that if they ever did get the Edelweiss, it would be pretty expensive. But I'm willing to pay a little bit of money for it, for sure. The other thing that's challenging, though, well, I should say this is on a completely different subject, but there were some other model kits there that were really cool. He got in some of the battleships from Galaxy Express / Captain Harlock, and I was all over that nonsense. So I would love to be able to buy and build those eventually. Not anytime soon, of course, because I'd like to wither down my backlog for sure. And I'd like to also know that, like, long term, I'm going to have a place to put all those model kits, because there's always a possibility that I will not. I went to IKEA on Monday, and I had to buy some more furniture because I bought a cube organizer for the closet in the game room, so I could actually sort all of the cables and crap that are in there. And that went very well. I got the cube organizer. I got another bookshelf to put more of our Yu-Gi-Oh stuff in there, and I got one other thing. Oh yeah, another one of those little $20 bookshelves with the open sides, so that Michelle could put all of her Zelda stuff and all of our Fire Emblem stuff in there. Look at his head just came apart there. Go figure. But I was not able to locate another glass display case. They are completely bought out. Like, IKEA just does not have them right now. They've been completely sold out, because obviously here in the U.S. we're still dealing with COVID nonsense. People are doing a lot more stuff at home, and so furniture has been one of those. Furniture has been one of those things that has just been impossible to find right now, as annoying as that is. And I should have heeded the warnings on this. I had people telling me, they were like, you're not going to be able to find that stuff. You shouldn't even try or whatever. But I was like, I'm going to anyway. And so right now I have the issue of, I have room in my bedroom for another glass display case, but there is no glass display case to be found, which is really annoying. The one that I don't want to settle for one that is not as good as what I want, because there were some that had like no walls to them. It was like just shelves and a metal frame, which I suppose is fine, but how are you going to prevent dust from getting on the thing? And so I just said, okay, no, I'm not interested in that, and I'll wait for the nice one to come in. And because the one I have my initial Zoids in, oh, come on, there we go, is like $150, and I know that seems like a lot, and it is, but alright, it looks pretty ugly with the mouth hanging open like that, but it's on there secure. I guess I can put the Android Pilot in there too while we're at it. Tail's also kind of loose as well, I noticed. I didn't want to settle for a glass display case that was not good. I wanted to actually get one that I liked. I wanted to prevent dust and stuff from being able to get on the kits. And so I'm being patient. I'll wait for it to come in. But basically right now, on top of the cube organizer that's in the background of this video right now, is the Bazoodle, both HMM Blade Ligers by old junky Command Wolf. It's got both of the little Beetle Zoids that me and Michelle built from Zoids Wild. So it's got kits that are just waiting to be put away, and probably everything I'm going to build today is going to go up there too. So I need to actually be able to put put my backlog away somewhere once I build them. But regardless if I have a place to put them or not, actually being able to build this stuff and kind of put it away and say it's done, it's completed is so refreshing. Like, you guys have no idea. I've been sitting on this stuff for so long. It is so cathartic to finally be able to say, hey, it's done. We'll get one of the rubber caps now. These seem to be in perfect condition as well. There doesn't seem to be any rot in them at all. I'm not going to try to rip them off with my fingers. I'll use the snips like I'm supposed to. It was a very nice, very satisfying snip sound there. Let's see, I-71. I had a bad habit of accumulating more and more and more model kits and not building any of them because they took so much time, and I had to share the living room with my brother, and his girlfriend would come over, and the amount of time and setup it would take to put everything out and start working, I ran the risk of my build being interrupted, and I did not want that. Let's see. Where does this go? Okay, it does go on the back side here. It's in that groove right there, so we get that nice range of motion there. That's something I always thought was really cool about the motorized kits, was that right there. Yeah, it's like I kind of have to prioritize which hobbies I'm going to dedicate a ton of runtime to, because obviously I have a massive backlog of cosplay stuff I want to work on too, but with COVID and everything, obviously it has not been very practical to work on anything cosplay related, so I just haven't really done it. We have 1 foot there. I'm not going to put any of the armor pieces on. Oh boy, it's having us do one leg at a time before we actually attach it. Which I suppose is the smart way of doing it. I know it doesn't look like it, guys, but we're almost done with the 0x. For those of you who are just joining or joined a little bit later into the stream, we are building a series of today. We're building a couple of Zoids Wild kits and a couple of old really rare Hasbro kits. And I would never do an HMM on stream like this, because there's no way we'd be able to finish the kit in one go. I mean, you're looking at several hours to finish an HMM. And then there's the fact that I'm not super confident in my ability to do so I'm sure I would mess something up. And I definitely don't want to do that on stream. And what else? So the kits we're building, we started out with the Stylaser from Zoids Wild 0, and now we're doing the Liger 0X, and next we're going to be doing the Rising Liger from Zoids Wild 0. And if we have time, we'll do the Energy Liger. Right now I'm thinking I'm probably not going to have enough time to also do the Energy Liger. And we're also going to do the Gojala's Giga. Now, the Gojala's Giga, you guys will have to follow the Facebook page, because I'm going to be doing that as a Facebook Live event. So it's just Starcross Souls Let's Plays on Facebook, and that's where I'm going to be doing the live thing for the Gojala's Giga. So that kit is very big, so I'm assuming it'll be maybe an hour to build that whole kit. So that's a pretty appropriate length for a Facebook Live style event. Whereas I know, live streaming on YouTube doesn't really have. I mean, neither one has, limitations or anything, but it's just more so like, what is reasonable when expecting someone to watch a stream? Is it reasonable to expect somebody to spend an hour or so with it on in the background, or more? Like, what is reasonable as far as that goes? You guys may hear some noise in the background from my neighborhood. My neighborhood is relatively quiet, I will say, but there is something going on out there. I couldn't even tell you what it is. Okay, we need another rubber cap. And families, if you were making your children play outside during COVID to pass the time while they're, while everyone's quarantined or whatever, then good on you. Make your children play outside. I vividly remember being a child and playing outside. I vividly remember being a child and playing with Zoids outside, as a matter of fact. Probably shouldn't have been doing that as a kid, but that's what the action figure ones are for. You don't necessarily want to take a model kit out there. Actually, ironically enough, I was telling the story about building the Koenig Wolf a minute ago. It was so nice out, and I love the fall weather so much. Back in 2016, I vividly remember I took that Koenig Wolf outside on the back porch and built it outside because it was so friggin' beautiful out. Wish I could say that right now, but we're towards the tail end of summer and it is very unpleasant out. Oh boy, here we go, another foot. I low-key hate this. I was not expecting this, but I think overall, in hindsight, I will appreciate the build complexity of this guy. For those of you who weren't watching earlier, it literally is just the fact that the feet on the Liger Zero X, and I'm assuming the original Liger Zero by extension, each individual toe is its own piece, which is not too far off from how the H&M Blade Liger has its own toes are like two halves you put together like a clamshell for each individual toe on all 4 feet, and that just adds days to the build complexity of that kit. It just adds so many hours. I was very disappointed with myself with how long it took to build the H&M Blade Liger with the Ligon one the other day. Not because it shouldn't take a long time to build an H&M, because it does, but it was the fact that I had the torso and everything above that completely finished. I just needed to build the legs, and I told myself, oh yeah, I'll do it tonight. And like 3 days after I said I was going to finish it, I actually finished it. And a lot of that was because I was starting at like 10 p.m. and I was already really tired. And like midnight would just creep up on me and it wouldn't be done. And I'm like, I am so ill with myself right now. But it is what it is. Like I said, I will not be angry with myself if my vacation ends and I have not built the Psychogenosaur, but I would like to. So 72, 74. Yeah, it just goes in order. Top down, left to right. This vacation has been incredibly relaxing, though. I say relaxing. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but it's stuff that's been important to me. Where when you get those things done, it's like you can take a breath of fresh air and say, "Wow, I accomplished something." And that kind of personal accountability is very important to me. I'm very results driven, just in general, and so I tend to really kind of actually goes in that order. It goes in a circle. That's so stupid. Why couldn't you just have it go in numerical order? Yeah, so I'll give myself tasks and kind of hold myself to them. I have a to-do list for every single off day. Part of that is just being a homeowner and having things to do around the house because you don't want your house to get out of control and you don't want to have to pay for a bunch of repairs. You want to upkeep the condition of the house. You want to make sure it's clean for yourself and for your guests. And obviously, my fiance, I want to make sure I'm a tolerable person to live with. So I want to make sure I put in enough things to contribute. Yeah, we're done with the feet. To contribute, I do a lot of housework. If I'm off, where if she comes home, then she doesn't have to do nearly as much, and she definitely appreciates that. And then it's stuff of like, you got to make sure you cut the damn grass so the HOA doesn't complain, or you and make sure your siding is not dirty or whatever it is, and then you keep up with your bills and you make sure the AC is maintained, like all this other stuff, and it never ends. But as much as that sounds like busy work and it sounds tedious and it sounds like a source of stress in your life, it can actually be incredibly rewarding. It's that correlation between responsibility and meaning, when it's like the more responsibilities you take on, the more meaningful your life can be, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. But that being said, some of the little tasks I give myself, talking about personal accountability, are like dumb, silly things that are hobby related, but it's like, hey, if you got this done, you would feel better because you'd still feel like you accomplished something. Even if it's like playing some video games in my backlog, where it's like, hey, you worked 10 days in a row, or hey, the last all the off days you had for the last month, you didn't play any games, you didn't make any tangible impact on your backlog at all. When I do things like that, I get a feeling of accomplishment. So I had a list of video projects I wanted to make. I had a list of video games I wanted to play. I had a list of models I wanted to build. I had a list of housework things I wanted to do, bills I had to pay. And all of those things combined are equally as rewarding when they're important to you. I know that sounds probably very condescending to say, but let's see, K77. So I started playing Final Fantasy 12 again. I never finished Final Fantasy 12 on the original PS2 version because I got about 60 hours into that game. Didn't really feel like I made much of an impact on the story. I was still only about a third of the way through the story. And then I lost my save file because me and my brother had a aftermarket third-party PS2 memory card, and I never ever trust aftermarket third-party console accessories nowadays because of that. But yeah, so I lost 60 hours worth of progress on that game, and then the HD version came out, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it again. And so I booted up the Zodiac Age, got through the beginning section of that, and then when I got my PS4, the PS4 Pro, and I wasn't sharing my brother's anymore, I transferred all the save files over. Let's see, using cloud storage, and I was like, okay, maybe like 5 hours in the game or something like that, 5-10 hours maybe, and then went to go continue on the PS4 Pro, and the save file was gone again, and so I'm like, great. So here I am starting over Final Fantasy 12 for the third time in a row, and I kind of hate that, but the quality of life changes made to the Zodiac Age, the HD edition, are pretty awesome, where I can't really complain. Let's see, 69. Nice. The job class system is pretty awesome. Something I always enjoy about the older Final Fantasy games, for sure. And then the fast forward feature. Oh my god, you don't realize how slow that combat can be until you've played it and you've done like level grinding and fast forward. Like it's just amazing how amazing of a quality of life enhancement that is, for sure. So that goes that way. Need I-64 as well. I sat Michelle down and had her play her very first Final Fantasy game not long ago. She started playing Final Fantasy X, which of course is the one I started with. So I know it is very forgiving in terms of difficulty, and so I'm sure she will not have too much of a hard time with it. That's why I started her off with that one. So far she's actually liking it quite a bit. I was pleasantly surprised. And then this afternoon, when I finally get done with all of this, our friend Shannon is coming over Shannon from the Fire Emblem group is coming over again, and I was shocked when she told me this, but she wants to learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And so, by God, I'm going to do my best and show her how to play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game And I'm going to do it in the best way possible. I'm going to introduce her to the mechanics very slowly. Just be like, here's the absolute core mechanics of the game. And then play over and over and over again with just the basic mechanics, like maybe do a pre-constructed like structure deck format. And then I'll introduce her to actual like all the extra deck mechanics and whatnot. And then after that, when she's familiar with that, we'll talk about complex deck building philosophy and how to play with different types of combo decks and how to understand what your deck is trying to do. Like we'll talk about like advanced deck building theory once we get to a certain point of practice. And then after that, I'll talk about like actual tournament theory and how to like read your opponent and stuff like that, how to plan for particular matchups and all that, which is stuff you don't ever really think about until you get to a certain point. I doubt that she'll want to play competitively or anything, but she'll probably just want to play with Michelle and I. But we'll do that in the most fair way we possibly can. So I have 3 out of 4 legs done. I'm going to check on elastic really quick and make sure we're still good. Make sure my feet don't collapse. Man, I've got a massive pile of trash over here from the previous kits we built. I guess everything is in frame just fine. Okay. We have returned. We're about an hour into this, so I may still have time to do the energy Liger. We'll see. I'm gonna do the Liger Zero. I'm sorry, the Rising Liger. I couldn't think of the name of it. We're gonna do the Rising Liger next to kind of give myself a little bit of a break from this marathon here, but I'm feeling lucky. We may be able to do the energy Liger now. I have absolutely no idea how complex the energy Liger is going to be, because it is, and it has all this tubing going on. Now, with Brad, he did say that his Liger Zero, I keep saying Liger Zero, his energy Liger has some issues where it has, like I said, rubber hoses and that kind of thing. And he had some pretty serious issues with rubber rot with his, which is a major concern with anything really old like this. Like a lot of old toys that have rubber on them, it can decay over time. Funny enough, speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I actually used to have stacks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that were separated by rubber bands. Like you just wrap a rubber band around the stack. I think a lot of kids would do that when they don't know better. And so what can happen is the rubber bands can rubber rot, and then they disintegrate around the cards. And sometimes the card at the back of the stack can have the rubber band sort of adhere itself to that, which can be potentially damaging for that card. So don't ever do that, guys. Do not stack your cards and separate them with rubber bands. That is not a good idea. It's very hard to tell in the video. I'm sure you guys can't see it. I'm actually just now starting to really see this and appreciate it. But I love the color that the Liger Zero X pieces are molded in. I imagine if they were to do an HMM kit, it actually would not look as nice, if I'm being perfectly honest, because it seems like HMM kits don't like doing this, but like this is molded in a metallic gunmetal gray color, which is just awesome. And I have a distinct feeling that if it were an HMM, it would not do that. Let's see, where are we going with this? There we go. I'll probably talk about this again when we get to the Market Watch video for September, but we did have a announcement that the HMM Wild Liger is going to have a variant of it, and I think it's called the HMM Wild Liger Guren version. And basically everything on the Wild Liger that was blue is now red, and vice versa. No, not vice versa. Everything that's blue is now red. And so that looks pretty cool. So if you guys did not pre-order the HMM Wild Liger, then I guess look out, because the Guren version may be available. And of course that may or may not be a reference to Gurren Lagann. We'll see. But okay, so that does go like that. And then we have our neck. This is always kind of annoying on the old motorized kids, is trying to figure out, trying to line up every last little thing on the leg there to where it fits right in where it's supposed to for the motorized function. I think we got it. Just need one of the caps now. Wow, only one cap holds that whole leg on there. Man, that tail is loose. Speaking of the Wild Liger and new announcements, they announced a sequel to Zoids Wild Blast, the Japanese fighting game that is being ported into English this fall, called Zoids King of Blast, Zoids Wild King of Blast, I think is what the English version I said was called. So this sequel is going to be called Zoids Infinity Blast, which makes a lot of sense, especially considering that the old... What's really cool about this is the first Zoids property we've had since the release of Wild that actually puts the Zoids Wild Zoids and the anime era of Zoids alongside of each other. So the Blade Liger, the Berserk Fury, the Genobreaker are all going to be playable in Zoids Infinity Blast, and so we get to see them side by side with the Wild and Wild Zero Zoids, which is pretty dang cool, if I do say so. And the trailer for that was pretty hype. Now, as excited as I am about that game, it's not for everybody, because it does still maintain that fighting game style of gameplay that the first game had, and Zoids is actually kind of infamous for making random fighting games, and they're not always good. So the if you look at Zoids Full Metal Crash, again the Zoids Infinity series, Zoids Struggle was another one. There's just a lot of Zoids fighting games, and so to me, the fact that, as excited as I am to actually play the Zoids Wild game in English and everything, to me it just seemed kind of lazy. Oh, I'm putting the entirely wrong leg on there. That's why that's not working. I'm putting the back leg on there. God, I'm stupid. I've said this in another video, but I'm like, oh, it's a wonder how I even get out of bed in the morning sometimes. Okay. I guess it is. I much rather prefer the sort of third-person mecha combat shooter style, I guess you could say, with the Zoids Versus trilogy. To me, those are just better made games, and the gameplay lends itself a lot better to mecha. And I guess Gundam is guilty of this too. Like, for every Gundam Federation versus Xeon game that's out there, because that's an amazing third-person, arcade-style mecha third-person shooter game. For every one of those that's out there, there's like 12 Gundam Extreme Versus games, which, don't get me wrong, the Gundam Extreme Versus games are fun and everything, but like, could we just please have a Gundam game that's not a fighting game? I mean, you got the Gundam Battle Assault games from the 90s, Also, shout outs to my friend Caleb, who just did an amazing review of the Gundam Battle Assault videos. If you guys want a link to his channel, I can provide that. He did a really, really solid review of the Gundam Battle Assault games, and I had never played any of them, so it was a very insightful video. But yeah, it's like, which way does that go? Like that. But it does make me wish there were more games like the Zoids Versus trilogy. It's always so awkward for me to say Zoids Versus trilogy as well, because I feel like unless I actually say Zoids Battle Legends out loud, there's a good demographic of people who don't even know what I'm talking about, who only know of Battle Legends and they don't even realize that it's part of a trilogy, which is fair. I'm not trying to be like a gatekeeper and be like, oh, well, if you don't know about the Versus trilogy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just saying that it makes it awkward from a dialogue perspective, where I have to constantly say Zoids Versus trilogy, aka Battle Legends, or Zoids Versus 1, Zoids Versus 2, aka Battle Legends, Zoids Versus 3, which always seems to be how I have to preface that. But regardless, put this leg back together. Like what I would not kill for a new Zoids Versus style game that included, and I think we all want this. Like, let's be honest. It's an empty page. I think we all want a new Zoids Versus style game that has Genesis Zoids, as well as, Wild Zoids couldn't hurt as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. But, give us a Genesis storyline mode, give us a Wild storyline mode. Like, that's where it's at right there. That is doing all that well, to be perfectly honest. But on the plus side, we are almost done. Alright, so now we have a full Liger that can actually stand on its own. Now we'll have the instructions tell us to take all of the Empire Liger pieces off and put the 0x pieces on. So for the face. I'm not 100% sure how they want that to line up. So be careful here. Oh yeah, that's got to be it. Man, that looks just, I'll be honest, it looks pretty badass. It's got like a Batman aesthetic going on here with this. So if Batman piloted a Zoid, it would be the Liger 0X. I'm assuming I would probably have to run the motorized function to get this leg to kind of come forward and be in a more normal position, but most likely not going to do that. So we've got N10, which I believe is on this, yeah, N10. That's the bottom fin for the main there. Again, all the Ligers are based off of lions, so they have to have a mane, which usually flips up and in some cases deploys a shield. If you're the Shield Liger or the Blade Liger. Didn't the the Schneider also have a shield? I'd be very surprised if it didn't, considering it was sort of built around the design of the Blade Liger. But yeah, that bottom blue piece there, of course, is going to be one on top as well. So the little side pieces of the mane are the same thing, where it's like a dozen of the same pieces just kind of stacked on top of each other annoyingly. But at least these go in numerical order. So 1 goes into 2, goes into 3, goes into 4. And I guess the reason why they made them all separate pieces is so they could individually articulate and flare out, which is quite cool if I do say so. They're also asymmetrical, so they can only go on one side, again, which makes sense. So there's only 1 through 4, and then I guess 5 through 8 or 5 through 7 or whatever. So that way they can only go on one side. Okay, so that's done. And that kind of clips. Oh, that's going to be difficult to fit in there. Oh, please behave. Liger 0x. Make sure that's nice and tight down on there. I'm not even going to acknowledge the amount of innuendo I'm sure could be made out of this video. The amount of saying, like, things are nice and tight and trying to cram things into other things, and I'm just not even going to go there. You guys can say your giggities and make as many comments as you want in your head, and we'll leave that where it was. Wow, this is a real pain in the ass. Mainly because the 4 pieces we just assembled on top of each other want to bend upon themselves, and so trying to force it in there gets increasingly more difficult. Ah, there we go. That nice snap. It just kind of fit right in there, so that rotates out to the side. Although I'm going to try to mess with it as little as possible, just let it sit there. So for those of you that keep up with my posts in the Zoids Collectors group, or like I said, follow the Facebook page, you guys would probably see that I had a panel, a Zoids panel for Anime Weekend Atlanta, which is a big deal because I'm sure that convention has not had any Zoids related content for ever, pretty much, or at least a very, very long time. And so, and I imagine that was probably going to go over very well, especially with the addition of Zoids Wild being added to Netflix. It's actually a new and relevant franchise again, and so it would be ripe for discussion, although this would essentially be a comprehensive history lesson on the entire franchise. But of course, AWA was canceled, like all conventions were this year due to COVID. And I had mentioned in one of the discords that we're in, oh, I'm stupid. These have got like a little slant right there where I assume they're supposed to slide in a little bit easier. But it's still kind of a challenge with, you don't want to put too much pressure on one piece because it'll just pop out and break or whatever. Yeah, so I mentioned to one of our discords has someone in it who is a AWA administrator or somebody in staff and planning, and so they're kind of there to be like an inside agent, so to speak, and give us an insight on things happening with the convention, because we have, with the Fate group especially, we have such a big group, and that would have been pretty nice. We have such a big group, not to mention it can be kind of difficult to facilitate all of us at the same time, so it's kind of one of those things where taken care of or whatever. And what the heck is going on here? So I guess this piece comes up and we attach some more stuff to it. I don't actually know. Okay, I think I see. We need page number P, though. Yeah, so I talked to them about potentially doing a digital panel for AWA, and if that's the case, then that would be pretty cool, but it wouldn't be quite the same without the audience interaction. I know, of course, there's always the ability to do a live stream and all that, but where's P? F L. I know I've seen it before. H, Q, G, C, R, N, and M, and E. Weird. Oh, here we go. It was just hiding over to the side there. Let's see. Yeah, if I do end up hearing anything about being able to do a digital panel for AWA, remote panel, so to speak, I will let you guys know if and when that will be. And of course, I'll have Brad join me for that because he was originally going to be on the panel with me anyway. Definitely add some comic relief and some insight there. We also were just laughing hysterically at how funny it was going to be to have Brad, somebody who is has been well known at conventions for years, cosplay the character Brad from Zoids, and how funny that was going to be, because it's like, Brad, who are you cosplaying, Brad? And just that kind of thing. Page O. I don't think it even exists. Oh, it does. I was definitely not expecting the Liger Zero X to take nearly this long. Part of it again was the fact I guess I can't keep blaming the instructions, right? Because I blame the instructions for the Stylaser. Although when that picked up speed, it really picked up speed because, as we established, the Wild Zoids are much more simple than any other era of Zoids, any other manufacturer of them or anything. But in my defense, I did not expect the instructions to start me off with the Empire Liger and then all of a sudden have the Liger Zero X be at the back of the the back of the instructions. I thought it would be the other way around because the Liger Zero X is front and center on the front of the box and is also the kit that it's named after. It's not the Empire Liger with Liger Zero X included. It's the other way around. It's that's what you're buying the kit for, is for the Zero X. So it just seems very silly to not start with that in the instruction booklet. But again, that's a relatively petty complaint. This thing is super cool though, and I really can't wait till it's done. I know when I do get my second glass display case, I'm going to have to rearrange some things so that I have them kind of displayed how I want, because right now it's going to be like all the HMM kits are going to be separate. And I wonder if it would just be possible to put all the Ligers together. So this is kind of an interesting contraption here. Assume that it fits down over... Oh, it does. That's pretty cool. Fits down over the torso like that, into the body. Oh, that's awesome looking. God, this thing is so cool. And that's it. That. It also seems like they tried to cram a lot of instructions on one single page with the Liger Zero X portion of the instructions. And I'm not sure that I really appreciate that. It's like, look at this. You probably can't see it because it's probably just outside the camera frame, because I tried to have the camera focused on the playmat here, which was going to be the central building area of this kit. Looking for piece number P3, which is really funny considering what I was trying to play last night. I told that story a minute ago. Yeah, shout outs to my friend Cheyenne, who's a big Zoids fan as well. She, I think she finally started watching Zoids Wild the other night. But I can tell when she gets on a big kick, something she's interested in, because she got on a big Persona kick recently and started dragging me down with it. So I recently played a bit of Persona 3 and the portable edition, and I'll probably go back and finish it. Wow, no, that's some bull crap right there. So that little cylinder right there is 3 separate pieces combined. That is wholly unnecessary. Again, I guess I can't complain considering I just came off the heels of building an HMM Blade Liger, but and guess what? It doesn't go in numerical order either. It goes 5, 4, 6. Maybe the Wild Zoids have made me soft. But again, that being said, these do look pretty cool, and the molded gold just looks incredible. I think I mentioned that about the Stylaser as well. I think this actually looks better than that, as good as I said that looked. With the plastic that's molded in this gold color just looks so good. I think we're working on the actual weapon here, the electro shock cannon thing. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but All I know is it's stupidly overpowered in Zoids versus games. That's a tight fit in there. Trying to get that in there. I have a bad feeling about that. Have this as tight together as possible too. It's not like oh, I think I had it facing the wrong way though. Life is hard. Life is a lot harder when you're stupid, like me. We have the other side just like that. It's coming along. It's coming along real good. We're not as far behind as I thought we were. When we get done with this though, I'll check the live stream one more time and determine if we have enough time to do the energy Liger, because I'm really starting to think we don't have enough time to do the energy Liger today, which is fine because I did put a pretty sizable chunk of pretty sizable dent into my backlog when you think about it. It was a total of 4 kits. I mean, if I do the Stylaser, the energy, or the Liger 0X, and the Rising Liger, and then you consider the B-Wing that I built this morning, that's 4 kits done in one day. So, and I still have the rest of the day ahead of me. I'll just be busy with other things. And probably this evening we'll start on the Psycho Genosaur, like I said. And not looking forward to the actual build process of that. I hope that I build it correctly to where it's nice and stable, because oh boy, do I not want to have that boy be wobbly. Even more so, I don't want to have the Berserk Fury be loose and wobbly and unstable, because that thing would be a nightmare with all the little fin things for its weapon. Yeah, forget about that. Oh, it's supposed to spin. Oh, it's so cool. I didn't even know that. I wonder if this one is too tight on there. No, it spins too. That's so cool. And then we put it together. We get 01. Combine that with N9. I think the last blue piece here from this sheet. Yeah, the sheet's done. It gives us our little crown for the top of the head there, which really completes the whole Liger 0X look. The blue is I guess it's this sort of electric blue, which I'm sure is intended as an intended reference to its electric based powers or whatever, but it actually fits really, really well. I'm not going to put that on there quite yet. I'm going to wait to see what it tells me to do. But yeah, the color scheme with the Liger 0X is just absolutely awesome, even without any kind of modifications or anything. Although I'm sure it would look good with modifications. I don't think I've ever seen a custom painted Liger 0X. And actually, I can't even remember in the Zoids versus Game X what color it will be. I couldn't even tell you, to be honest, what optional colors are available for it. I think it just changes like the accent pieces on the side. It doesn't actually change the primary color scheme of it at all, which makes sense, but it's kind of a shame. But yeah, talk about just a really cool and really solid design already as it is. I'm not looking forward to whatever the hell these little things are right here. There's way too many of those. This would have been a whole evening for me as a kid. Yeah, neither myself nor my brother had the Liger Zero X as a kid, and I can't blame anybody for that because that goes on the end of the tail. Okay, cool. Which I think there's another piece we got to put on the end of the tail in order to facilitate that. Because Zoids were around, when you think about it, Zoids were around for such a small and finite period of time in the early 2000s. Like, really, if you weren't into Zoids back in 2002 and 2003, that's all you had, because they were pretty much gone after that. Toys R Us stopped when Fusors got canceled and the toy lines got canceled. Toys R Us stopped carrying them, and that was it. I mean, that really was it. There was none more left to be found. This actually goes over the tail, looks like. It's like these sort of clip on back here. There doesn't seem to be anything holding that on though, which is a little distressing. Supposed to clamp down back here behind this power switch for it. When something is not connecting right, that is not a good sign. Especially with an H&M, you never want to force something. With this one, I think it's just, plastic might be slightly warped or something to that nature. There we go. Okay, that's good and on there. I never noticed that before. This thing had little engine things in the back. It actually looks like the X has a lot of kibble on it, I guess you could say, but it's not that bad. Let's see what page we begin with. Page P again. I love that on P1 and 2 here for the things that attach the blades, it actually bothers to have an L and an R on there for left and right. That's incredibly helpful. Okay, try to rest my legs there. I almost snipped that in the completely wrong place. That would have broken that really good. So, interestingly enough, I talk about how with the HMMs they all have those rubber socket pieces. Well, the Zero X here is something similar. It has a page called X. I'm sorry, called S. It does have a page called X, but it has a piece called S. And these appear to be, again, the really soft plastic, almost rubbery pieces. And I'm getting ready to use one right now. It's not used for the same purpose, structurally or anything, but it looks like it's meant to hold the weapons on. So that attaches like that. This clips in like so, and it's really, the weapons on the Liger Zero X are really interesting because It doesn't have really normal ballistic weapons at all. It has the same underbarrel shot cannon all the Ligers do, but it has energy-based weapons that can either, they're like these electrified blades, and they can flip forward to fire as projectiles, similar to the Blade Liger's blades, which, sometimes I forget that the Blade Liger's blades can do that because you can't do it in any of the games. It only happens in the anime. We have attack boosters for that in the games, which the attack boosters are better anyway. I just wish that Van didn't ditch the attack boosters as early as he did in the anime. Like, he really did not make use of those things at all. That says R5. We need R6. It's also one of those things too where, if you were a kid like me looking at this in one of the catalogs or whatever that sometimes came with Zoids, you would definitely not have a clear idea as to how this looked or how it worked just looking at the pictures of it, because it's very convoluted, like very Ghibli almost. And I'm noticing that these do not want to fit on the rubber socket very well. The rubber socket appears to be preventing it from fitting nice and tight as opposed to assisting it. Shoot, that's not good. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So it kind of folds down into the assembly like that when it's on its back, and of course when you fold, when it rotates down like that, it can fold out and become the blade. And then when it's folded up and on the, come on, stay in there. When it's on the back, it of course has the ability to flip forward like that and fire as the projectile weapon. That's really well designed. That is very, very appealing design work. Stellar job there. They just got to be able to keep it sturdy. And then we do the other one. We're almost done. We just got to do the little shoulder things as well once we get the blades on. I got to figure out what was supposed to go there for the tail. I hate that I missed that piece. I'm sure I can find it though. Done with that one. With a lot of the goals and stuff that I set for some of the off days, sometimes I worry about being a little, this is gonna sound pretty pretentious, but sometimes I worry about being too overly ambitious with what I try to do. Not because and that's not like a humble brag kind of thing. Like, what I mean by that is I have things that I want to do, and then I don't do a good enough job of actually doing them. And I think everybody can relate to this, where it's like they know they have to do something and they procrastinate. They're not disciplined about their time, or in my case, I just grossly underestimate how much time that given thing takes to do. And so that often results in me not getting nearly as many things done as I wanted to. So my list of things I set for myself to do during this vacation, that I'm not going to have another opportunity to take a vacation like this for the rest of the year. I'm if I don't complete any of the given things on there, then I end up getting a little frustrated with myself, which maybe I shouldn't do. But the other thing to keep in mind is that why are you being so difficult? Oh, that's right. Yeah, it folds over like that. The other thing to keep in mind is there's a lot of variables that are outside of my control that are preventing those things from getting done. Like I mentioned with the furniture, you know, not the furniture just not being available, like it being out of stock everywhere, is out of my control. You know, that's not something I can be like, oh well, that was my failing by not getting that done while I had vacation time. You know, not getting the new bookshelf or not getting the new glass display case and everything. That's not really my fault if it's just not available anywhere. Oh God. Oh, look at this mess. Yikes. Yikes. Oh boy. Well, let me find where that tail piece is. Let's go back in the instructions all the way to where we put the tail on. See what piece that was supposed to be. It's supposed to be F42. Looks like that's going to be a red piece regardless, a piece of the Empire Liger. But it'll be covered up, so it won't really matter too much. Let's see, that's for the Empire Liger, and so is that. So we're dealing with significantly fewer pieces now. Thank God. Oh, and actually, these are not as bad as I thought, because these are actually two pieces connected on a rod there. They're not individual little fin things, thank God. Where did I put the... Oh, there it is. Yeah, the Liger Zero X was definitely on my bucket list of kits that I wanted to find. The other one, one of the bucket list kits I'm looking for that I would love to have is the Gariyuki from Zoids Wild. Or not Zoids Wild, Zoids Fusers. And I can't seem to find that one. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. Let's back up and see how that's oriented on the top. That's what I thought. And it seems like anyone that has the Gariyuki doesn't want to sell it, or if they do, they want to sell it for a pretty high price. I've seen some deals on it in the past, but unfortunately missed out on it. There we go. There's the tail complete, and then we can get onto this absolute mess up here. I sincerely doubt that they would ever do HMMs of any of the Fusers kits as well. You know, I doubt they would do a Gariyuki or even a Liger Zero Phoenix would be really cool, but I doubt they would ever do it. And actually, I'm one of the weirdos that prefers the Phoenix and even the white Liger Zero Phoenix to the orange, the Canon orange one that appears in the anime. I just think it looks too awkward because it just looks like a bird strapped on top of the Liger Zero, which is really silly looking. And I think that's part of the people's distaste for Fusers is just how silly and inappropriate it looks, and how it really does come as a very transparent attempt to make it marketable to kids. But hey, you can combine the robot toys together, kind of thing, and you know that was kind of the gimmick. But it was a gimmick that was definitely lost on the American viewers. They were not the slightest bit they knew what was going on. They were not the slightest bit fooled by that gimmick. Because other anime style robot series did that gimmick better. I mean, Transformers had power linking in the Unicron trilogy, and that was probably done better than. Oh shoot! So you know what we got to do? We got to take these stupid things. R1. And again, thankfully these are in numerical order. They've got to actually fit in like that. I noticed it was weird. There was a gap in there. They fit in like that. I don't know what the purpose of that is, to be perfectly honest. And that fits in like that, or does it? It's supposed to. Maybe it's supposed to go like that. Yeah, I think that is likely to be the case. Okay, cool. Let me take these. Almost look identical, but I know they're not. That's why I had to snip out a different one there a second ago. Oh, they're almost identical. I would be forgiven for getting these in the wrong order if I accidentally did. I need S1, which is I swear these pieces are made out of rubber. Like, these are really flimsy too, like really, really flexible, so I'm a little bit worried about those. And then T, which is the translucent blue for the side parts there, which almost feel like the Liger Zero X could do without. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, the translucent plastic always looks really cool on these, but it makes the Liger Zero X look kind of bulky at the shoulders and very wide, and I'm not sure how I like the look of that, but it's okay. These should all be the same. Of course they're not. Oh no, they are. There's only two different types. I'm assuming front legs and back legs. And that's probably why the this black piece here is also different between the front and back legs. Okay. I need this piece. Don't actually know where you want that to go. Is it up here like that? I guess it is, yeah. That would definitely make sense. Or what? don't like to stay in there very well. I'm legitimately confused on that. I don't know why. I don't know why it was designed like that. Oh, I see. So that's a perspective issue. So they're meant to stick straight out the sides. I should know that from the video game. And so as a result, you have to like wiggle it in there on its side to get it to. The piece is bigger than the. There we go. So it sticks out the side just like that. I notice a lot of Liger Zero X kits are missing that. God, that's stupid. I don't know why they just didn't make that out of the hard plastic. And that goes on the front, I think. Okay. One shoulder finished, two more to go. Sorry, I know I get distracted there and I completely lose my focus on the commentary, and I hate doing that, but sometimes I look at these and I'm like, okay, what is it actually trying to get me to do? And it's, yeah, it happens. So this may seem terrible. I'm debating whether or not I want to do the Liger Zero X and the Empire Liger in the same review. I will probably do that because they are the same kit, and there's really not that much else to say about the Empire Liger over the Liger Zero X, because from a lore standpoint they are pretty much the same. The only thing I'd want to say about the only reason I would do that is if I could not get my hands on like my brother's motorized Liger Zero Hasbro kit to review. Because then, if I were to do a video on the Empire Liger, it would essentially be the only way I could do a review of the motorized Liger Zero. I mean, and I think that makes sense. So, not that there's that many things different to say than the HMM one, which I just did the review for. Speaking of which, the reviews for the Jaeger and Panzer armors are coming up soon. And those are probably going to be their own separate reviews, only because those are all HMMs. Now, just in case you guys didn't see that video, I don't have the actual HMM kit that is it's the Liger Zero complete with the armor permutation. It is actually the armor permutation as its own separate kit. And I think I may have messed that up somehow, because that doesn't look like that fits in there right. No, I guess it's right. Now one of these stupid pieces. Yeah, I really do not know why they designed it this way. Not crazy about that, to be honest. All right, then we have a back leg. I can literally go weeks and not hear anyone's dogs barking in my neighborhood, and then literally the minute I try to do a live stream, got dogs barking in the neighborhood. This is how it works out, isn't it? I don't even know which neighbor that is, to be honest with you. I haven't really met any of my neighbors yet. I've been here, like I said, for almost 3 full months, and I've only just kind of spoken to the next door neighbor to the right of me like one time. Other than that, I have not talked to any of my neighbors. We tried to get the key to the pool through the HOA, and apparently it was the responsibility of the previous owner of the house to supply us with the pool key, and because he failed to do so, we now have to pay $50 to get the pool key, and I think that is bullshit. That is like absolute just rent-seeking bullshit, where the HOA basically just says, we'll just nickel and dime you to death because we feel like it. No repercussions on our end at all whatsoever, and no repercussions on behalf of the previous owner whose responsibility was to get you the pool key. We'll just charge you $50 to replace it, even though it wasn't your responsibility that it got lost in the first place. And so that's awesome. So I just got paid today, so I'm probably fixing to pay that $50 so I can get the pool key and actually enjoy the pool. The whole reason why I pay HOA dues in the first place is to use those amenities, and I've been living here, paid 2/4 of HOA dues already, and haven't been able to use any of the things that I pay for. And if I knew that it literally was a dictatorship and not a democracy, I would insist on not only not paying the HOA, paying the $50 replacement fee, but I would also insist on getting my dues partially refunded because I've been hindered from actually even utilizing the thing that the dues are there to sustain. But I'm not that petty, and I know I would lose that anyway because, like I said, the HOAs are literally just rent-seeking, money-sucking organizations that do nothing really good or of any value. Literally, they just suck your money. It's what they do, and so that doesn't actually fit in there. Yeah, so I'm going to lose that battle. Anyway, that being said, I'm looking forward to having a pool day, being able to swim a little bit before the summer's over. Okay, I guess it does fit in there. I didn't want to have to resort to the bigger piece because I wanted to follow what the instructions were telling me. Quite pleasant to get up in the morning and do some running in the neighborhood though, because it does have a little sidewalk, and if you can get up early enough before the sun comes up and it's nice and cool out, there's lots of other people out there running with you, so it does feel very safe. And then the roads up and down close to the neighborhood, everybody runs up and down those roads. Oh my god, guys, we're almost done with the stupid Liger 0X. This should not have taken nearly as long as it did. I will say that for sure. All the pieces that I know are going to be part of the original version of the kit, the Empire Liger, we're going to put back in here. So so that as soon as we put on these last couple pieces, we can just keep rolling. So literally the rest of the pieces that are in front of me are for completing this. I'm super excited. No idea what time it is, but I think I'll check on the stream one more time and we'll segue right into the Rising Liger, and then we'll probably call it a day. I really appreciate you guys joining me for this. I know this is probably not the most entertaining thing in the world, but hopefully my commentary, when I actually felt like doing commentary, was good. Talked about a lot of relevant things. I basically said what I wanted to say about the argument about Zoids Wild, the anime, and how everyone seems to be kind of taking a dump on it. You know, if you're the kind of person that wants to get into a heated argument on the group about Zoids Wild, then you may want to take a step back and reevaluate your position on that, because, like I said, we cannot take for granted how incredible this community has been, and you know, just we're squandering a gift that we've been given by not nurturing this community. So there's that, and there's the fact of, like, if you don't like Zoids Wild, then that's fine. I mean, it does have a lot of flaws, even I will acknowledge, but chances are it probably wasn't meant for you. It's not your series. If there are kids out there right now that, you know, if Hasbro does pick up the Zoids Wild line, which looks like they will, probably this holiday season, because they're licensing the game, and of course the game has a dub, the anime has a dub, etc. Hasbro's got their name on it. Looks like the toy line is inevitable. So if it does come and there's kids that are buying them and building them and everything, then, you know, imagine if you were a kid and you really enjoyed Chaotic Century or New Century, whatever, and some boomer just came up to you guys and was like, "That's not what Zoids is supposed to be. Zoids is supposed to be a Marvel comic that was released in the UK featuring Spider-Man," which is a real thing, by the way. And it's like, well, so what? I mean, it's gatekeeping behavior, and it's really just kind of crappy. And like I said, I think we have a lot to be grateful for. I think I put that together wrong. Gatekeeping is the one thing. We talked about internet culture a little bit earlier, but I didn't go into too much detail about it. Gatekeeping is like the one thing that I absolutely just cannot stand. It's the worst, one of the worst behaviors aside from just straight up bullying, because people also, when they experience negativity like that, they don't know how to differentiate their one negative experience from the majority of people, and so they assume that if one person gatekeeped them and said, "You're not a real fan unless," then somehow that can grow to define their entire experience with that fandom. It's like the guy that I mentioned who was just being a troll earlier in the PSP and Vita collectors group over the problem I had. I could have easily just been like, "Oh, they're all a bunch of fucking trolls, you know, Persona fans are just shitty," and but that's not the case, and I know that's not the case, and so I didn't jump to that conclusion, because that's just one troll. He does not represent the vocal majority of any group, and every group is going to be disproportionately more shitty online than they would be in real life, no matter what it is. I mean, you could have like a group for bird watchers on Facebook, I don't care, and you're going to have gatekeepers in that group as well, you know, just like you would for a nerdy niche interest. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Liger 0X. That is so badass looking. Oh, I love it. That was way more annoying to put together than I thought it would be, but we did it. He's going to go off to the side there. Instructions are going to go back in the box, and we'll build the Empire Liger another time. Check on the stream really quick, and then we'll get into this guy. Oh my god, I gotta stretch my legs. Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. Oh, I told Shannon I'd be ready anywhere between, what do you call it, 4 and 6, somewhere around there. So throw together the Rising Liger really quick and we'll get ready to call it a day. I do apologize for not having enough time to do the Energy Liger as well. But we're coming up on almost 2 hours. Actually, over 2 hours now on the stream. So not too bad. I hate how long the Liger Zero X took, and how we had a couple of hiccups there with just understanding everything. But the Rising Liger is practically going to be a speed run, if anything, only because now I say that I probably hype it up to be like, oh, I'm going to plow right through this thing, because I have basically built this same kit twice before. When you think about the Wild Liger and the Beast Liger, which is the exact same skeleton underneath, we're going to go ahead and get right into it, guys. We're going to do it. I'm using my file there to cut through the tape. So the skeleton underneath is exactly the same, and even though I say it is exactly the same and this should be a cakewalk, I'll probably find a way to mess this up only because I'm streaming. And it's been almost a year since I built the Beast Liger, so I will forgive myself for making some hiccups here and there. Again, we're back to the Zoids Wild style of everything is in baggies. And when I got my big order from HLJ or whatever it was for the Beast Liger, the Cannonball, the Gatling Fox, and the not Sword Wolf, Hunter Wolf, which again are basically the same two Zoids, but the Gatling Fox looks way cooler, and of course is the Zoids Wild Zero version of it, as expected. Cheyenne built both of the wolves, and I built the Cannonball and the Rising Liger. I'm sorry, the Beast Liger. And Cheyenne is a very competitive person, and there's nothing wrong with that, because usually if she's good at something, she takes pride in it, which is what you should do. And so she, like, I could tell she was going to want to get competitive about who could finish their kits the fastest, and she was looking at me almost done with the Beast Liger, and she was getting frustrated, and I'm like, no, it's okay, I literally have built this exact same kit before, because it is the exact same skeleton as the as the Wild Liger. So you could essentially just take you could have just sold this kit as armor, and it would have been exactly the same. I'm still going to use the instructions just in case I get messed up somewhere. You never know; these things might happen. But as a result of that, when because she was building two of the exact same kit as well, when she started working on the second wolf, the Gatling Fox or whatever, she took the lead over me building the Cannonball, which I had never built before. So it makes perfect sense when you think about it. Let's set those aside. So the Rising Liger, because I have yet to really been able to sit down and watch Zoids Wild Zero yet, because there doesn't appear to be anywhere that has subtitles for it. I think there's a site that has it, but the link that I followed, somebody in the collectors group recommended me a link to watch Zoids Wild Zero with subtitles. And when I clicked the link, the site did not in fact have subtitles, which is a little annoying. But I know that the Rising Liger is the evolution of the Beast Liger, much in the same way that the Blade Liger is the evolution of the Shield Liger. And as cool as the Beast Liger looked when it was announced, boy did they outdo themselves with the Rising Liger. Like, it looks so cool. Not only does it have gold and red armor, which is just amazing, but the weapon is literally like a giant single knife sword and a revolver Like, oh, it's so cool. I could not begin to describe how excited I was. And I got on one of those tangents earlier where I didn't complete my full thought, and I hate doing that. I hate starting a conversation and not finishing it. But essentially, earlier I mentioned how, oh, it's already on there, stupid me. I mentioned how the Zoids Wild King of Blast game is coming to America, and under that title. And when they announced the sequel, Zoids Infinity Blast in Japan, we got to see that there will be a collector's edition of Zoids Infinity Blast in Japan that will come with another Liger variant. And this one, I don't remember exactly what it's called. I almost want to call it the Mariner Liger almost. I know that's not what it's called, but that's kind of what I want to call it because it's blue. It's different colors of blue. Like the primary and secondary colors are both blue, and it looks quite cool. I like it. I don't know that I'd want to have yet another version of the Wild Liger when I already am going to have 3 plus the HMM Wild Liger when that comes out. So I don't know that I want to do that. But it also showed how it's going to come with this customized parts set that has a cannon for like a set of giant freaking Gojulus cannons for the Rising Liger / Beast Liger, which is pretty cool. Now I this is a conspiracy theory, I know, but I almost low key wonder if the Liger, the Wild Liger and Beast Liger, etc., the initial model, the core of this, was intentionally made to be as easy as possible because it's the protagonist Zoid and it's the one they figured most kids would start with. Because this one is exceedingly easy even compared to the Stylaser we had earlier. And it's not just because I have built this thing before, as I mentioned. There are actually reasons that I can point to why I think this kit is a little bit easier to put together than some of the other wild kits. Again, if you're building the little wind-up kits for Wild and Wild Zero, then obviously they're going to be really cheap. That's a non-starter. They're going to be cheap. They're going to be quick to build and everything. But the motorized ones, your medium to large size ones, is where the little bit more rewarding construction comes in there, and more rewarding in terms of gimmicks. So with the Bazoodle and I know it's probably pronounced Bazootile, but I keep calling it Bazoodle. That's where the rewarding stuff really comes in there, is with those kits, and I feel like they have enough like really cool gimmicks and stuff to where they can be fun and rewarding to put together. Also, do not be like me with the Gill Raptor. I need to go ahead and take apart the Gill Raptor and fix this if I can. Make sure that you actually build the thing correctly to where the motorized function actually works, because one of the tracks in here, kind of like how the old, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of like how the old motorized kits worked. I messed up on that to where if I were to put batteries in the Gill Raptor, the motorized function would not work. Congratulations. Side note as well on that. So I think that goes there, yeah. Side note on that, the names for the Zoids in the English dub of Zoids Wild were changed. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the name changes. I don't understand why they had to kind of dumb them down to such an extent, and it's going to get very confusing, especially if we get localizations of the video games. Like, they're going to have to write themselves kind of around this. They call the Wild Liger just Liger. And I get that that's petty. I mean, it's grasping at straws in terms of complaints, and even I acknowledge that. But it's just seems like a stupid decision. Like, why did you just call it Liger? Um, what was wrong with calling it the Wild Liger? You know, you have such a thing called Wild Blast in the show, so you're not afraid to name drop the name of the show. Um, there's got to be some weird licensing things too, because on Netflix it is called Zoids Wild on Netflix, but there is on the listing there, like the thumbnail for it just kind of says Zoids. So that obviously there's not going to be any other Zoid series picked up on Netflix, most likely. But if there was, that would be a little bit confusing. Like how very, very simple the head is compared to the Liger Zero X we just built. Oh my god, I can't believe that took so much time. Also, I like how when you're in the process of building these Ligers, the head kind of freely opens and closes like that. That does not happen when you have everything assembled, because it's sort of locked into the motorized function there. Put the caps on the side. I need one more rubber cap. The return of the rubber caps was kind of nice, I have to say. The rubber caps are not rubber on the HMMs. They're more so just there for canon details than they are to be part of the structural integrity of it. None of the HMMs rely on those caps for structural integrity in the slightest. Feet are nice in silver, which is pretty cool. I mean, the feet and the fangs and the revolver cylinder are all silver, which provides a nice stark contrast to the. And again, we're dealing with feet that are not all the same. And the front feet and the back feet are different, just like the Stylaser. Must have been a conscious decision. No, maybe they are the same. I don't know. Must have been a conscious decision on behalf of the team to do it that way. I don't know. A little, the cylinder part is slightly more narrow at the top. So the front feet and the back feet are not the same, which I do not think was the case with the original Wild Liger. Very interesting. Anyway, which leg is that? It's probably a front. Yeah, that's a front leg. Hey, you guys remember when they, at the beginning of the year, when they announced the HMM Rev Raptor? How we haven't seen like literally anything on that yet? I guess it's just not happening. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's happening. I shouldn't say that, but it's probably not happening for a while. Let's finally get this rib cage thing on the side kind of tied down by getting the legs on there. That way it won't be able to wobble freely. I've mentioned this in my reviews of the Wild Liger and the Beast Liger, but this piece right here that you can see moves, it's got like the rib cage on it. That's designed to be like a carrier rail between the both sets of legs, so they move in sequence with the motorized function. I guess I don't have to put the feet on first. I can put the whole leg on first. We're almost done with the skeleton of this guy. We'll move right on to the armor. Let's see, I think the front legs are the thinner ones, like I said. that's loose. Luckily the rubber cap helps with that. They look kind of ugly sticking out pretty far to the side like that. I don't know how I like that at all. But there's really no other way of doing it. Unless I'm just... Oh no, I'm doing that all wrong. I'm stupid. Again, I wonder how I even get out of bed in the morning sometimes. So they go in that way, so the rubber cap is facing out. How did I make that mistake? I'm in too much of a hurry is how I made that mistake. I noticed, I was like, hey, that looks kind of ugly. I wonder how that happened. It happened because you're an idiot. Yeah, that one. Perfect. Again, not as big of a mistake because the feet are not critical to the structural integrity of it. Obviously, aside from it has to stand on the feet, but could be way, way worse. And I should have known better because literally the Stylaser has got the same kind of thing going on, except those feet kind of cover a little bit more surface area there. I completely forgot to show this off as well, but I forgot this in the Beast Liger review, but I believe it was HLJ sent me a promotional kit that has, I'm assuming I'm going to need that piece when we leave it in there for now, sent me a promotional addition to my order for the Beast Liger that was a customized parts kit that had a additional little claw to show that off because that was pretty cool and I definitely want that to go appreciated. So there we go. We have the skeleton of it. And we can do the armor. That was a weird sensation in the back of my head there. I thought something hit the back of my head and there was nothing there. Maybe you guys on the stream saw a ghost or something and my house is haunted. Very unlikely, but so the thing I'm looking forward to the most about the Rising Liger here is that hopefully the weapon function will not act up like the Beast Liger does, where it literally will not chill out. Like it's hard to get the, oh man, that metallic red looks so good. That is awesome looking. I literally can't get the claw thing to stay back. It's very difficult to get that thing to stay pegged in back there. We have the saddle piece, which of course goes on the neck. Which surprisingly, even though this is an artifact left over from the Zoids Wild Zero kits being based off of the Zoids Wild kits, apparently in the anime there is some kind of pseudo cockpit thing that the Zoids Wild Zero Zoids actually have, and so that kind of addresses people's rather silly criticism of the what am I doing? Bring that back, bring the head up, yeah. The fact that it's like, oh, it doesn't, blah, 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 the pilot's exposed, which I get why that's dumb. That's interesting. I'm not going to say what that reminds me of. Use your imagination, kids. Various other things that are in plastic and strung together in a chain like that, and much like armor, are used to protect yourself, but again, use your imagination, kids. Let's see. Yeah. Oh boy, this gold looks... I know I'm just repeating myself, like I said, about the metallic red, but this kit just looks amazing in terms of the color scheme. Like, just so nice. And again, it just, please, more model kits and like hobby things need to do this, where just don't bother with paint applications, just have the plastic just be molded in a very nice, high quality color like that. Like, it makes so much of a difference. So I think these have got to be for the front legs. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay, so front shoulders have got armor. This actually kind of low-key frustrates me. I wish you know what, I think I have an X-Acto knife up here, because literally right above me is the kit that I use to build cosplays with. It's got a bunch of supplies in it. So I'm literally just going to take an X-Acto knife or a straight edge razor, whichever one I find first. And I'm just going to cut across all those bags there and get all those pieces out, because having them all individual like that is stupid. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it had something to do with how they were manufactured. I'm not going to complain. Yes, we literally just cut that off and then... Yeah, that's much better. Much more like it. And I am bound and determined to keep that promise. Okay, so that's the face. We want to put the eyes in before we do that. Actually, let's do that now. Put the eyes in. Careful not to puncture yourself with your filer, kids. Also, X-Acto knife cuts suck really bad. So do hot glue burns. We know that from experience. Also, cosplayer hot pro tip there: do not inhale fiberglass resin. Make sure you have a organic fume respirator. These green eyes look pretty sick as well. I gotta say, I like that quite a bit. Somebody's riding around on a four-wheeler out there, sounds like. Strange, because there's like a hole on the inside of these armor pieces that would imply another peg sticking out on the leg, but there just isn't. It goes in, there's two pegs on the armor piece that go into the leg, but not the other way around, when you'd think there would be. And I'm definitely not missing anything, so it's not like it's that. Just kind of leftover molded pieces that sort of for a just in case style event, I guess. So, peg in the main pieces, not the main pieces for construction, but the pieces of the main of the lion because it is a lion type Zoid, the wild beast rising Liger. Or just Liger if you're the dub of Zoids Wild, apparently. They put the face on there. So you did it, Takaratomi. You did it. You made me buy the exact same kit 3 times in a row. Purely by changing its weapon and its color. You thought that like Transformers fans were bad about buying repaints. Well, man, you hit the jackpot with Zoids fans with the Rising Liger because... And I can't even be mad because this thing is just so cool. Like, it's amazing. Alright, that's all for the armor. That boy is done. And we've got 2 extra left over of our caps, which seems to be a common trend with the wild kits. So we're going to assemble the Avengers. No, the motor itself with the weapon feature. I've seen this thing walk before. Again, I'm not putting in the batteries today on the stream, but I saw seen somebody in the collectors group post what the motorized function looks like, and it's really cool because the gun barrel oscillates back and forth like it's firing, and the sword flips over, and that piece, I knew I was going to need that. Put the sword this way. It pegs into the side of it. I'm really not sure what the point of that is. We have the actual spring-loaded piece for the sword, and it goes in that way. Oh no! You know what? That might be why there. Maybe that's what that's supposed to help with. Does that snap in there? Is that what that does? No, even so, oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it stays in there. Oh, how cool is that? And so it flips forward, and then that flips up to be on the back side of it to keep it down. Oh, how cool is that? Guys, I love this kit. This kit is as cool as hell. I really cannot even be happier with it. So we flip it over, and then flip that down, peg the actual knife assembly itself in there, and then we clip it in. Oh dear, I've put the gun on the wrong way. Right when we thought we were done, too. Like I said, life is hard when you're stupid. Man, it's like, how did I not notice that? Well, I may just have to fix that off screen and go ahead and call it a day. I hate to do that though. I can get the file up under there and try to... Yeah, that helped. Get that to pop back off of there. is why you pay attention to the instructions, guys. Okay. We did it. We got it off there without breaking it. Holy crap. Okay, now it's facing the correct way, so let's go ahead and put the motor on top. Make sure the motorized function, the rib cage thing is all the way back. And because it's all the way back, the blade should clip in and not want to swing forward, which it's not doing. Go fucking figure. Yeah, so just like the Beast Liger, we seem to be having a problem with the blade not wanting to... There's nothing for it to clip into, though, which is a little concerning. Maybe there's no way I missed a piece. Maybe I think I know what I did. Because that would be the wrong way around, so I clipped in the blade part upside down. So if I do it this way, there's actually a tab for the blade to clip into. I thought I had it there. Okay. Even so, still not really working. Yeah, so that's a bit of a problem. The blade doesn't want to stay down. This happens, again, this exact same thing happened with the Beast Liger. It just doesn't, there's a little, I explained how this works, where when the motorized function goes, it pulls on the rib cage and pulls the head down, and that releases this pin right here, which causes the blade thing to flip forward. But oh, maybe that's why it wasn't in all the way. Yep. I got nothing. So the blade is just going to stick out like that. It is what it is. Yeah, so that's about it then. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this stream. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of that. I guess I'd like to do this again if I'm a little bit more prepared, I guess. This was a nice little test run. We managed to build 3 kits in probably a lot longer time than that should have taken. I still plan to do the Gojless Giga as a Facebook live stream, so if you guys want to join in and see the Gojless Giga, then definitely go like the Facebook page. Again, that is Starcross Souls Let's Plays on Facebook. And, well guys, we will see you then. Say goodbye.